The time has come to go through a roadmap. Total War Warhammer 3 has given us a roadmap of what the remainder of 2022 will look like, and that's what we're going to go through here today. We're going to just pretty much scrub through this entire blog post where they outline the next 3 quarters ahead for us. And there's a lot of exciting things. We do have 3 different Regiments of Renown packs that are coming, one of them being a free LC, it looks like. We have a Lord pack as well as a Warriors of Chaos Old World update, and then some other fun goodies planned here towards the end of the year. So we're going to go through this real quick. If that's really all you wanted to know, that's the kind of down and dirty of what's coming with the roadmap. 3 Regiments of Renown DLCs, one of them being an FLC, a DLC Lord pack, a Warriors of Chaos Old World update, and then a whole bunch of patches throughout the remainder of 2022. So good little bit of information. I would still like to see a little bit more of what those Regiments of Renown look like, what that Lord pack looks like and stuff like that, but we're going to go through everything here right now and talk about that further. So let's go ahead and scrub on down and take a look. So this kind of outlines essentially what they're going to be talking about, including new DLC packs, old world updates, and more releasing alongside a steady cadence of bug fixes and patches to the game. Now, Immortal Empires is included in this article, and there's a bit of a beta for it and whatnot. So we'll get to that when we get to that. It's a little bit more of a convoluted answer than saying that's coming. So we'll see that when we get to it. So they are also kind of talking about, hey, you know, there's tons of input that we're kind of going off of, but they will also be giving us a state of the game post of pretty much every quarter to kind of give us an idea of what they're working on, how up to date everything's going to be, I would assume, as well as any kind of future releases and whatnot. Being kind of pessimistic, Creative Assembly is typically not stuck to a lot of these dates, either with the DLCs and FLCs array, state of game posts and stuff like that. So I'm very curious to see if this is too ambitious of a set of promises to us, which again, I'm cool with it. If they want to throw all these promises at us and really lay out a very heavy bit of transparent timeline and say this is what we're going to be sticking to, and they give us state of the game updates where they say, hey, you know, things aren't probably looking like we'll probably move our Q4 schedule back a little bit, giving us again a lot more transparency on the schedule, I am all fucking for it. I am all sorts of down for it. But what I don't want to have happen is that they make this post, they make all these promises about transparency and about the future of what this kind of state of game will look like in the quarters up ahead. And then they just abandon it the first time that there's like a hitch in the road. And that's what they've kind of done in the past with DLC and FLC arrays. So I am a little apprehensive and a little pessimistic to this message, but I am also very open. Almost it's susceptible. I'm susceptible to it. No, I'm very open to it. So I am excited to see that they are taking this stance, especially after the blow back with Warhammer 3. But I am just kind of a little curious as to what that's going to look like. We'll just kind of keep moving through here, and we jump into Q2. Oh, they do say also, you know, that this is the beginning of the journey, and there's multiple years rolling out that they've been saying for some time now, though. So for Q2 2022, that's going to be covering April, May, and June. And what we're going to be seeing in Q2 is an update here in May. As it only had been a few months since the game's launch, May's release will continue to focus on implementing fixes for the community-reported issues while improving areas of the game where both the players and dev team would like to see tweaks. And I'm going to show you guys a really cool roadmap that kind of shows you all this and really does a nice kind of bullet point list of a lot of these things. But what this May update will include AI factions rebuild towers too quickly, issues when flying units attack ground units, range units fail to engage valid enemy targets, demon factions automatically declare war on Slaanesh vassals, and a fix for issues that result in players getting stuck in the Slaanesh realm. Also, heavier units ignore defensive infantry lines. This mainly affects large monstrous units. Defending lines should now be more effective at holding the front of the counter attempts to access their back lines. AI factions with an anti-player bias, and then snow is too bright. So we'll see that kind of brought down, which is very nice. In addition to that, though, we're getting some improvements brought in. So auto-resolve improvements, something that we desperately needed. So how auto-resolve is calculated, changes to the way reinforcement armies influence the outcome, and other issues reported with auto-resolve. Improvements to unit responsiveness, which is another massive one, and improvements to single entity units dueling with other single entity units, which is lovely to see. Technology tree reworks. Already at this point, we're getting some reworks to the technology tree, which I'm stoked on, and a character trait rework, as well as Tzeentch and Slaanesh replenishment rates and leadership or leaderboard reset for the online play. So that will be a lovely bit of patch to come here in May. And this is April 29th. So we should hopefully see this in the next couple bit here. Does it say up top when that's coming? Did it say? And I'm stupid? Probably. I'm kind of dumb. With May rapidly approaching, we are working on several key issues that we're looking. Okay, so it doesn't say like an actual date. But look forward to that in May, which is great. Also, though, update 1.2 will also give us the opportunity to add our first free DLC to the game, Regiments of Renown. Granted units to a single specific race. We're doing things a little differently in Total Warhammer 3. With each regiment pack, we'll instead be adding a single new Regiment Renown to each of the game's core races. This allows us to expand and bring more new roster functionality to all factions over the time, rather than powering up one race while forcing the others to wait their turn. So I love this, because one of the things when you take a look at any of the current game and previous game factions, Regiments of Renown always create a massive power spike for anyone that has them. And if any of the core factions were to be given an entire Regiments of Renown pack, they would immediately just spike in power above the rest. So making it like this, I think, is a much better approach, much better. So every single race is going to get a single Regiment of Renown. Way easier to balance too, from a multiplayer standpoint and from an AI standpoint, and I'm really big on that. So it'll be lovely to see that go through. And that is with Q2. So with my tongue is just not here today. Q3, we get July, August, and September. So pretty much the latter portions of summer, we'd be seeing some fancy new updates and some fun ones indeed. So update 1.3, we have one last regular update before moving on to our next major game release. Update 1.3 will give us another opportunity to address and include fixes for player reported issues. Also include introducing the second Regiments of Renown unit pack to the roster. So they don't know any real big specifics for 1.3, but we do get some stuff here. With Regiments of Renown 2, improve unit formations. In the effort to improve the efficacy of various units, we will not only be taking a closer look at unit formations and how they enhance the battlefield, but how individual entities navigate the battlefield when engaged in combat. Skill tree reworks as well here, and increasing the frequency of land battles, which is a huge desire because we get so many sieges. Nice to see that's been addressed and at least is part of a roadmap. Battle-related fixes as well. The Total War Assembly Kit allows the easy creation of new mods in the Total War Warhammer games. I am not a modder. I know nothing about modding, but from what I at least understand, what the assembly kit does is it's kind of like a manual of how to do certain things that makes updating the mods way easier come patches. So this is a nice little thing for the modding community. Now, update 2.0 will bring us the Immortal Empires beta. Mortal Empires was a much loved addition to Total War Warhammer 2, and Update 2.0 will introduce the first iteration of the game mode to Warhammer 3. Officially known as Immortal Empires, the mode will merge the maps and factions from all three Warhammer games, for those who own them, into one, allowing you to deploy the factions you love across a massive battlefield. Immortal Empires is a monumental undertaking here. So what's going to happen here is there is going to be this open beta, which kind of allows you to kind of go crazy with it, right? But this initial phase will allow us to focus on updating the balance, map, races, and other areas where we can continue to make adjustments based on player feedback, ensuring that it will meet and exceed expectations as it develops over the long term. The plan is to continue updating the mode over several years, and we want to ensure that those of you who are most excited to play it have the chance to participate and share in its success. So it looks like a latter portions here of the summer that we will be seeing. Also, Old World update for the Warriors of Chaos, starting with the, oh, by the way, too, next few months we'll be doing an AMA with Richard Aldridge, the man himself, who will be the DLC game director. The same DLC game director that was there for Game 2 will be here for Game 3. I think he was in Game 1 too, actually. But Rich is a great man with a lovely family and an amazing ability to paint Thousand Suns. God damn, is he talented. But moving into Old World Update, Warriors of Chaos, starting with Update 2.0, we'll be looking to overhaul some of the last remaining races not previously spruced. So this would be Warriors of Chaos and Norska. These Old World updates can include the introduction of new systems, units, features, and balance to make them a more formidable force in the battlefield. And in Update 2.0, this initiative begins with the Warriors of Chaos. Also, Blood Pack 3. So owners of the Blood Packs for Warhammer 1 and 2 will have it automatically unlocked. Likewise, blah, 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 blah. Likewise, unlocking the new pack will also unlock it for the previous 2 games. So this seems to be kind of like, if you've already owned it, you'll get it. If you don't own it, you'll get it for everything. So that's at least a cool caveat, I guess, I suppose. And lastly, our first DLC pack also releases alongside 2.0. So the latter portion of summer is going to be huge. Q3 is going to be very huge. Lord Pack introduced several new things here, of course, Lords, Heroes, and whatnot, and units. So including about the 4 champions joining the roster as we get closer to its release. So 4 champions, I'm thinking Chaos. I'm sticking them with that bet. I've been making that bet, but now we know we're getting 4 legendary Lords or champions, and maybe they're legendary heroes, joining the roster. And if we already have 4 demon factions aligned with the Chaos Gods, it would make sense here that these are 4 champions of those Chaos Gods. Mortal, immortal, demon, not demon, who knows? We'll probably find out more closer as we get into Q4. But I want to see something here. Regiment of Renown pack. Okay, so we'll talk about the Regiment of Renown stuff in a little bit when we take a look at this picture at the end of this video. But Q4, the remaining portion of the year, October, November, and December, sees update 2.1, which would give us also Regiment of Renown Pack 3, and then update 2.2 or 3.0. With so many big beats dropping in 2022, we're aiming to pull together one final release to wrap up the year. This will either be major release 3.0 or a smaller 2.2 release with its own set of content and fixes. Regardless of which path we choose, one major focus of either will be the Immortal Empires game mode, which will be seeing big improvements in the last build of the year. So that's what we can expect here in the remainder of 2022. It looks like Q4 is kind of a catch-all to see how Q2 and Q3 plays out. I would imagine that some of this is going to push into Q4. I think at the very least, we could probably expect this Lord pack falling into Q4 if things don't go so well in Q2 and Q3. I think that's a pretty... Actually, I think Old World Update and Lord Pack would probably go hand in hand, especially if this is a Old World Update for the Warriors of Chaos and Lord Pack is Warriors of Chaos themed, which I think it is after seeing 4 champions being added to the game. So I think those 2 will probably happen in Q4 if there's some snafus in the middle of 2 and 3. But going through the rest of this year and beyond, it's too late to talk about 2023, but we can see plenty of projects on the schedule that stretch into 2023 and beyond. Don't worry, we'll revisit the timeline several times throughout the year, both to highlight the projects that have been shifted or added to the schedule and to highlight different areas where the game and inevitably other Total War games continue to grow. There are a few other things we want to highlight that we're looking to work into Total War Warhammer 3. So a chat system here. And the shortcomings are so many, the lack of front-end tools. So basically a whole revised and overhauled chat system for Game 3, which is nice. The new Domination mode has been a popular addition, and we're excited to continue expanding the mode with new maps, increased faction balance, and more. Again, your feedback will help us hone this into the best experience it can be, and we'll be closely monitoring our official feedback channels for your suggestions. Multiplayer team is continuing to work with Warhammer 1 and 2 land battle maps to bring them into Warhammer 3, which is great. The multiplayer team is also investigating how to share the matchmaking queue and rating between the domination and land battle modes, so stay tuned for more news. So we'll see more of these game posts, these state of the game posts coming up here. Here is a final note, a final word from Rich himself. We'll read real quick together here, the DLC game director. Dear Total War Warhammer community, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you for your continued support and patience following the release of Total War Warhammer 3. Having taken over the post-launch development of Warhammer 3, my team has readjusted its original gaze and focus to improve the experience of the game, based off of the feedback we have received from you and continue to receive. But in doing so, this has led to a knock-on effect with our original planned roadmap of the new DLC for the game, hence the lack of info on this until now. Now that our first major patch has gone live with 1.1, and with more on the way over the coming months, the DLC team is furiously gearing up to transition back to doing what they do best, working on new and exciting content that will see Total War Warhammer 3 supported for years to come, with fan-favorite characters, races, unique mechanics, and narratives being added, along with an unhealthy dose of special surprises too. The team and I understand that actions speak louder than words, and our aim moving forward is to ensure that we deliver regular new content and game updates throughout the year, which expand your options, focus on quality, and fix, improve, and maintain the game experience based on your feedback. That should be an ampersand, I think, or that should be an ampersand. Come on, Rich. Likewise, we aim to keep you much more up to date with our thoughts, developments, and desires via improved communications, whether they be changes we plan to make to the game or setbacks changes that we may encounter along the way. I can't wait to share more gifts with you soon. The team and I are championing, you son of a bitch, at the bit, Rich. We hope this has all been useful and look forward to sharing more, but we have store as continue making the game better and better for everyone. So that is where we stand here with our update of everything. Like I said before, I'm really stoked to see that we have a really solid plan for the remainder of Q2, for the remainder of 2022. We have a nice set of updates coming, right? We've got all these Regiments of Renown, which will spice up each and every faction. We have an old world update, a blood pack, a DLC pack. So a lot of great stuff is included here, and I'm really stoked on that. Again, I'm just a little wary that they will abandon this level of transparency and this approach. I hope they do not. Again, just a little bit of pessimism because we've seen it happen before. I'm all for it though if they stick with it, because this I think is the level of transparency I have wanted with CA from, I don't know, like halfway through the dev cycle of Warhammer 2, because this kind of tells you, hey, this is what we're working on. If we adjust it, we'll let you know. And I think that that is kind of all we really want as fans of Total War Warhammer. And I guess if you're a history fan, you're like, where the fuck's the history shit? But I'm still, my point is here, this is just all we want. This is it. We just want to know, are things coming? Have you even listened to what we've said? And is that part of your plan? And I think that this gives you that transparency and like, hey, yeah, we have taken in that bit of feedback, and here it is as far as its priority in the coming patches and what have you. And this is the picture I was talking about that kind of just puts it all nice and succinct and ready here for you. You get a nice breakout of Q2, Q3, and Q4. And like I said, I think that a lot of this will be more of a catch-all for anything that has to squeeze out of Q3 into Q4. But, oh, okay, so there are two. The Regiments of Renown are both free on the first and the third one, but the second one is a DLC. So I do wonder, and that's separate here from, okay, so that is separate here from the Lord Pack. So we're getting Regiments of Renown 1, all these improvements in that patch for 1.2. 1.3's got the, of course, any changes I would assume that don't really get addressed fully on 1.2, or any remaining feedback would be part of 1.3. But we also get the Regiments of Renown 3 as a DLC, it says. So I'd assume that this is maybe a larger Regiments of Renown pack. That's the only thing I could imagine why they'd put a price tag on this. But then Immortal Empires Beta, the Blood Pack DLC, which if you already own 1 and 2, you get for free. And if you buy it for 3, you get it for 1 and 2. Then the Old World Update, which I would assume would be a free LC. And then the Lord Pack would be a DLC here too. So interesting kind of breakout on that one with the free LC Regiment of Renown in 2.1, with more information here on 2.2 or 3.0. So very exciting to see the roadmap. Again, like I've said millions of times now in this video, really excited to see this. Really hope we stick with this level of transparency. I mean, most games now are doing this, right? Some sort of roadmap to let you know what's coming. And even if they kind of don't hit it, there's usually a clamor of like, what the hell's going on? You're not hitting those dates. And then they release an updated one. A really good example would be Valheim, as a game that has released its roadmap as soon as it came out for early access. The roadmap wasn't getting hit and people were like, what the hell's going on? Then they released like saying, hey, here's the problems, so on and so forth. Here's an updated roadmap, so on and so forth. That twice. But that level of transparency, I think, has become so important for video games, because we move into an era where it's no longer you buy it and you never play it again. Video games are starting to become, rather than software as a service, it becomes this almost like not a subscription, but you are playing this game for years on end. Look at the people that are still playing Warhammer 2 and the DLC that's attached to it. So this kind of keeps you baited, or it keeps you at least on the hook for Warhammer 3 to know when the things that you are interested in the most are possibly coming to the game. And I'm personally most stoked for Q3. Q2, cool. great to see it. I can't wait to see what these Regiments of Renown are, but I'm really, really excited for Q3 of 2022, especially because Dark Tide's coming out around then too. It'll be a great time for Warhammer, especially for Total War Warhammer 3. Go ahead and let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Is this the transparency you were looking for? Is this the roadmap you were hoping for? Or is this too little too late? Or have you already kind of jumped ship and said, you know what, I'm not even going to bother anymore unless something monumental happens, or I'm not even touching the game until Immortal Empires is fully implemented. I really would love to see how people are kind of feeling right now, especially in the wake of so many things that have happened since launch up to this point. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.